Yeah, so it should appear on your phone in maybe another 15 seconds. Hi, KL. Okay, good evening, everyone. This is Han here from Sony Malaysia. Thanks for tuning for this evening Alpha Live interview with Fakrul Jamil. Okay, I can see Gail Im and Na Kok Kyong there. Oh, hey, good evening. Okay, just for the head start, hopefully tonight internet connection will be good. And if it happen that it's drop out, just stay tuned for a few seconds. It will come back. It's just that sometimes in the last week experience, the internet actually will disconnect itself. Actually, internet still there, just that the connection to the server it disconnect itself, and then you come back afterwards. But yeah, hopefully it will be smooth right tonight. Okay, so yeah, tonight is all about the landscape photo, and we have a very expert landscape uh, guru right here with us tonight. And then we will be, let's say in future you are planning to go to certain places when MCO and all the IMCO finishes, and then when things to start clearing up and you want to do some traveling, so you want to find out some tips and tricks about how you can take a nice landscape photo. Okay, let's welcome our lovely guest tonight from Fakru Jamil. So I'll bring up this right here. Hey, Fakru, how are you doing? Uh, okay, I'm good, good. Yeah. Again, hopefully tonight is a smooth ride. Thanks to okay. Yeah. Oh, you have a very nice setup with the lighting there. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. All right. So so far I think okay. So far no comment yet. Okay. So yeah, I just now the video. I think it was like lots of pictures that you've taken, lots of pictures that you've taken, and you compress them into like you put into a video, like a we call it as a time lapse. So I can imagine in those videos before you take like what thousand shots there, few thousand shots there. So I can see that you've been to many places as well. Maybe we can roughly explain where did you go roughly? Wow. Okay. 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 So there's some of the great stuff that actually you like captures all the different places and put it all together. Nice. Okay. Speaking about landscape, when did you start your landscape photography? Like why? How did you actually find out this passion in it? Hmm. Okay. 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 Mhm. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So, but that back then you weren't sure about what you actually. So basically, actually, you also try. Maybe you try some landscape, portrait. Then only you realize that oh, landscape is like the thing that you really want to go. So yeah. Huh. Okay. Okay. Oh wait. There's no sound from your side. Oh wait. I think I already put into stream. Eh, no sound from Fakru. Okay. Hold on. Let me try. Let me try this two one more time. Uh, I can see your sound is passing through. Not sure. Volume from Fakru. Wait. Uh, okay. The sound. They say they didn't pick up the sound from your side. No sound from. Hardly can hear. Your sound is too low. I can. Is you guys can hear the sound from Fakru? Because I can see from my side, it's actually quite maxed out already during my setting here. Let me check. Hardly can hear. Very soft. Actually have sound but very low. It says there. Wait let me see what I can do from my side. Soft. Okay, the sound is soft. Alright. Thanks for update. Okay. Oops. I think oh. Test. Hello, how's everyone? Can you hear the sound? But still very soft. Okay. I can hear very clear from my side in my mic, but I don't know why the sound is not loud in the stream. Yeah, I can hear your voice. No sound from Fakru. Uh, okay. No sound from. I mean, wait. What filters? Yeah, from my side also. Maybe I try to increase the volume, see does it help. Okay, right now I do +5 and then see what happens. Okay, I hope. Okay, test again,
Testing,
test again,
testing, Mike.
test.
Yeah.
Can hear Fakro now? Can hear?
Can hear my voice or not?
Yeah,
Anyone?
you can just reply in the comment. Sorry, I didn't realize the sound didn't get through.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can hear the sound now?
I
Oh, good now.
can hear.
All right. Sorry about that. I didn't know what happened. I just bumped up the sound from your side to like +5.
But can hear my voice already lah.
Can I one here? Okay. Okay, just let me double check one more time. Sorry about that, Fakro. Sometimes technical issue might appear.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Han is okay, only Fakro.
Yeah. So now sound is okay, Okay. Okay. Let me. Is the sound still okay? Can. Okay. Thanks for everyone reminding. Thank
They
you.
said they can hear you, but they cannot hear me.
Okay, my bad. Thank you. I think something.
Should we go back?
Okay, should be good. We just start and now can hear already. Okay, thank you everyone for the heads up. All right, so back to the question before. I think we start from there. It was because we just show you the video before, and then my first question is actually out of those videos, how many countries actually have you visited in your landscape career?
To date, I have been to almost 20 countries.
Okay.
To take landscape photos. Yeah.
Okay. So I can see just now in the video it's like a few thousand shot there, and then there's out of those few thousand shot you make into very nice time-lapse video, high quality time-lapse video as well, which is like a gems of everything, all the places you've been to.
Yeah. I did spend a lot of shutter to take those time lapse.
Okay. So tonight is your place for you to learn everything about landscape, and then if you think this video is interested, please feel free to share to your friends and family. People might want to go traveler maybe in the near future, or maybe after IMC is actually recover. So yeah, stuff like that. So you can learn everything about how Fakru Jamil took his landscape photography. Yeah. Okay. So sounds okay now. Should be good. Thank you. Thanks for the. Then okay, I think another question I'll ask is that how do you start landscape photography and what was the inspiration?
Okay, so I started with landscape photography back in 2010 when I graduated from my study. And then I bought my first conventional DSLR camera, and then I went to Langkawi to take some photos with it. But back then, I had zero knowledge about photography. I know nothing about composition. I know nothing about what is aperture, what is shutter speed. I just simply go there to take some photos.
Okay.
And then, of course, I uploaded the photos into Flickr, getting some feedback from fellow photographers. But then I was still playing around. It was not until 2 years later, in 2012, I actually decided to take things more seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I decided to dedicate all my free time to learn the ever-growing art of photography. Okay. And then I never looked back since.
Wow, that's quite a journey. So what do you do in your day-to-day time? Just curious.
Come again?
Tell me, what do you do in your actual life, apart from landscape?
I actually not a full-time photographer. I'm working in automotive company.
Okay. Wow.
One of the automotive company in Malaysia as a business development officer.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's quite a different things from landscape, and then the.
It is. Yeah.
I guess there's the art side of it. There's a place for you to excel your creativity and passion. Okay. So okay, I'm sure you're coming from a pro DSLR last time. Back then, and then transition to mirrorless. Was it difficult? How was your experience? I mean, before coming to Sony.
I mean, personally for me, I kind of like enjoy the experience coming from those conventional DSLR camera because of the size mainly. As a landscape photographer, I often do hikings and we need to walk a lot. Sometimes we need to climb stairs, So coming in from those slightly bigger size DSLR camera than mirrorless is really an advantage for a landscape photographer like myself.
Yeah, I imagine back in the days you need to carry like 2 kg, 3 kg minimum, or maybe more.
Of course, I also have 2 tripods with me all the time.
2 tripods. Wow.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay. Wow. So I think if you add up together, last time you'll be looking at somewhere 10 kg, yeah. 13.
No, easily 20 kg. If I travel to overseas with a few camera bodies, 2 tripods, few lenses, all those filters and whatnot.
I'm just curious, how do you actually go through with the security gate? I say, oh wow, you have lots of things in your bag.
In those early days, it's not that they are not that particular, but I guess in few years back, they are starting to get more serious. I need to take out every single item on my bag and put it on the tray. Okay. Yeah, it can be a hassle if you are transiting in few airports.
I guess it's due to many things happen, and then the security tighten, and also more and more people start to travel with camera and stuff like that. So I guess they've been strict.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay. And I think maybe out of the so if you guys have any question, feel free to drop in the comment below, and you can ask Fakrul Jamil right here, right now with you. Then let's say for myself, because I think to really take a good landscape shots, you really need to maybe do your planning, and how do you how long do you need to plan to all these things, and then before you start to aim for your travel, and just briefly. I think you have somewhere there.
You're talking about planning shot before going out to shoot, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I always do my homework before going out to shoot. For example, if I'm just shooting around in Malaysia, I'm not traveling outside, I just normally do a simple research on a location before I actually went there. So I use Google Earth to do some research where exactly I am going.
So Google Earth is a good tool then, because you can actually see all the physical location and how you actually plan your shots.
It is. I use that Google Earth, and then of course you can use photography apps like PhotoPills or the Photographer Ephemeris to actually see where is the sun setting or the sun rising. Because for me, I always target those timing to go out and shoot. I always shoot during sunrise and sunset to get the best possible.
I'm just running out of these apps here. You can see is how accurate are they in terms of the help you to plan.
So far, it is pretty accurate aside from the weather forecast. Even though it forecasted to be a good weather, and it can still rain in the end. That's the thing that we always deal in landscape photography, I would say.
This is very true, because actually back when I was in Australia, I can really rely on the weather in the apps that tells me, tomorrow will be raining, so I need to prepare stuff for tomorrow. But when I look at the apps in Malaysia, every day looks the same to me.
Especially in Malaysia, the weather is always erratic, I would say.
Yep. And also, I think this day, every afternoon also keep raining non-stop. And then maybe the morning time will be the best for landscape photo then during this time. Okay, cool. And actually you have one more. This the photo pills. Let me bring up the photo pills. Okay, so this is a quite interesting one. Can you explain a bit more about this particular app here, the photo pill that helps you to plan your shots?
Which part actually?
Right now is with the photo pill. The apps.
Photo pills, is it? Hold on, I cannot see the screen, so I had to open this.
Oh, I forgot. I need to do this step. My bad. Okay, so you should be able to see now. Let me minimize, so you can see right here. You can see where's the sun, and then the maybe the river.
Yeah, the good thing about these apps, it actually not just showing what time is the sun rising or the sun setting. You can also see where in a reality, where is the sun actually going to set? Like on the right hand side, the augmented reality. That is actually projecting where the sun is going to set during that particular day. You can actually input your date and your time on the apps.
Okay. So these are the very handy tool for you to do your planning in terms of if you want to do your landscape shots.
It is really handy nowadays.
Okay. Quite cool actually. You can actually see what is in the front, and then the augmented reality tells you where is the sun will fall and all this and that.
Yeah.
And then, but of course,
I was also quite impressed as well, actually.
The weather you cannot predict lah. So this is the last part.
That one is the one thing that we cannot predict.
Okay. So okay, there's a few questions coming up. Where's from Hazim. The best DSLR or mirrorless maybe it's mirrorless. Bring travel while at once forget cinematic graphic. What is trying to ask? Okay, I think maybe he's asking compared to DSLR and mirrorless, which one give you the best for cinematic photo? I suppose.
Cinematic photos.
Yeah, I guess it's like after just like you show the videos just now, all the editing part, very nice.
Okay, I guess now mirrorless is as impressive as pro DSLR cameras. The dynamic range of this Sony A7 series camera is really impressive because it comes with a high dynamic range. For example, like the A7R3, it has at least 14 stops of dynamic range, which is really beneficial for landscape photographers or even traveler because you always dealing with so-called high contrast condition. So having a high dynamic range camera is really beneficial for the photographer, I would say.
So the raw file, especially if you shoot uncompressed RAW, then you are getting all the information from the sensor, and it's very easy for you to do your. Because Sony sensor is well known for very good dynamic range. Dynamic range in let me bring up my face here. Dynamic range in layman terms is like your brightest part of the image until the darkest part of the image. When they say 14 stops, maybe it means that you have 14 different steps from a very bright until very dark. It's like 14 different steps. So the amount of information is actually kept into a raw file, allows you to go home to do your post-processing. And just an example here, if you're shooting in JPEG only, you only get around 8 to 9 stops of information. So it's very limited compared to a raw file. Raw file gives you a little more and really do your own editing and to plan your shot and stuff like that. Yeah, so back to the question, another one from Jeremy. Which is the best lens for landscape? This is, I think, your favorite.
Okay, that is a very, I would say, not to say subjective, but I would say an ultra wide angle lens is the most common used lens for landscape photography because you would want to cover everything. With wide angle lens, you can take a very wide view, right?
Yeah.
So
you can get a nice
the best wide angle lens lah.
Wide angle view.
Yeah.
So let's say you shot this one with the 1635 f4 Zeiss. Yep.
That was shot at 16 millimeter focal length on a full frame camera. So you can see it can covers a very wide view of the landscape, that's what we want in landscape photography.
So I guess say this picture is morning session, I suppose. Am I right?
Not really. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is in the afternoon.
Really? Wow.
Just a few hours before sunset. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay. I also cannot tell. I'm not a landscape pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Back to there's a question from Zamri. He say, jika satu lens saja dibenarkan dibawa, Fakul Jamil bawa apa?
No question asked. It's a wide angle lens. I'm using 1635 f2.8 G Master. I mean, that is the only lens that I have with me right now if I'm not traveling to overseas.
Okay. So that lens actually hug to your body all the time, most of the time.
Yep.
So again, the 1635 will be like an ultimate landscape photography. Yes, because it has okay. Speaking of our G Master, okay, because I also used Zeiss before and G Master. How do you find the G Master lenses?
Comparing to the F4 version 1635 Zeiss that I used before this, I would say it is slightly sharper and crispier. Not just slightly, I would say it's more sharper and crispier. If you're using it personally, then you will notice the difference.
And then maybe another question is sometimes wide angle lenses will have some sort of distortion. Does it really bothers you?
Most of the time we shot it at very eye level, so we don't get that distortion that much. Even if you get the distortion, we can always correct it inside the post processing.
True. Yeah, because especially right now this day in the Lightroom they have the camera lens profile.
Yeah, the distortion correction lah.
Yep.
Well, actually, those distortion are only affected if you are shooting something that have buildings. If you're shooting pure landscape like mountains or oceans or rivers, you won't notice the distortion that much.
Wow. Okay, so this is a very wonderful shot with the London Bridge. Is it?
It's a Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, I haven't been there before.
London Bridge.
Okay. So this was definitely it's a sunset. Yes.
It's actually a sunrise.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I actually walked upside down.
You can't tell the difference, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure getting this kind of shots, you have to be there much early to really prepare all this. Because all this moment is only maybe less than 15 minutes or 20 minutes. That's it. You miss it and you just miss it, right?
Yeah, it's roughly around that.
Okay. So what time do you really have to be there normally if you want to shoot 3 hours before a shoot?
I actually did my homework before where exactly I wanted to be for this photo. But going there is slightly a problem because I don't have a transport. So I ended up taking an Uber.
Okay.
Really early in the morning. I think it's about 2 hours before sunrise to get there.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's not too expensive.
If you convert it into
Malaysian ringgit,
okay, it can be quite expensive lah.
Okay, but everything worth a try, worth a experience to really capture the shots that you want. It's good, yeah. And then with the 1685, it's a very nice lens that for the landscape. Wow, this is nice one. And of course, hiking. Yeah, you need to do a lot of hiking.
Yeah, I do a lot of hikings as well.
Okay, like this one right here, this one. That's the one with... where is this place?
This is taken in Mount Bromo, Indonesia. But this is not really require that much of intensive hiking. It's a very simple walk just beside a car park, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it has a very nice view. Wow.
Well, of course, you won't get that sea of clouds all the time. You need to nail the timing to get that sea of clouds. It's very important to get the right timing to get those sea of clouds, actually.
Okay. So, and a question from Harry Mohammed. Okay, how do you incorporate person into landscape photography to balance out the human figure and the whole scenery? There's a new comment from from one.
What was the comment?
How do you incorporate a person into a landscape photography to balance out the human figure and the whole scenery? Yeah, you can actually see that in the comment.
Oh yeah, nowadays I started to incorporate human into landscape because sometimes it can get boring if you are just taking photos of those pure landscapes, right? And then you can actually compare it. How small we as a human compared to the mother nature. So incorporating human into landscape photos can show the depth of the landscape for me.
It show a bit more story as well, and then the
it does make those photos look more interesting as well.
Then another question from Naim Soleh. It's called, you prefer sunrise or sunset?
I guess everyone else gonna love sunset because they don't have to wake up very early in the morning. But for me, I would prefer a sunrise because first you get less people during that time, and then I guess the condition just feel very much tranquil comparing to sunset.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it's less rain on sunrise as well?
Uh, that is depending on the
Okay,
weather, I
true lah.
think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for the case of Malaysia, I feel like sunrise in Malaysia is a higher chance compared to sunset.
Well, if you're talking about weather in
Mm.
Malaysia, for example, I went
Okay.
to
Okay.
Putrajaya, the Putra Mosque for
Mm-hmm.
sunrise. I guess out of 20 visits, I only ended up with probably 2 good sessions with good lightings and good sunrise.
Wow.
So that's how erratic the weather in Malaysia is.
So with this sunrise picture with the moss,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, this is the
This one,
sunrise
this
photos at
one
the
is
Putra Mosque.
the 1635, right?
It is 16 to 35.
Okay. And wow, very nice. The contrast and the.
What I mentioned about the tranquility before during sunrise, those are the tranquility. You can actually the lake is so
Mm.
still that it creates those reflection of the moss and the sunrise as well.
Okay, just a starter for landscape. What is a minimum shutter speed that you start for landscape photography usually?
Minimum shutter
Mm.
speed. It is depending what are you shooting with
Mm-hmm.
lah. What you are shooting, the subject you are
Mm-hmm.
shooting. I would say the aperture is more
Oh.
important because you would want to get everything in focus and everything sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And my go-to aperture has always been f11, from f8 to
Mm-hmm.
f11.
And then ISO keep to 100 and.
Lowest ISO as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then shutter speed is depending what you are shooting with lah.
Mm-hmm. So I suppose that if the water is not moving too fast, you can actually you can do yeah.
Yeah, I guess like this Putra Mosque
Mm-hmm.
sunrise session, I think the shutter speed is around 1/10 of a second, I guess.
Okay.
Can't exactly
Wow.
remember, but I mean the lake itself is so
Yep. Yep.
tranquil. The water is so calm that you don't need that long exposure to get that reflection.
Wow. Yes, very nice,
Yeah,
very nice. Okay. And did you use any filter on this thing? Or you just shot out of the camera?
this is just shot with my camera because it was not that bright, so I don't need any filters for it.
Oh, okay. So you only use a few like a bright. I mean, a filter only when it's the sun is too bright. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending. But for example, like I always use GND filters and I have ND filters.
Mm-hmm.
But since I started shooting with Sony A7 series camera, especially the Sony A7R
Yep.
series, that have a very high dynamic
Yep.
range, I don't really use a GND that often anymore.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because the camera itself can cover the dynamic range itself.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So thanks to the huge dynamic range in the raw file, especially from the Sony sensor, it has a huge range that allows you to do all the post processing. And okay, Fakru Jamil, please comment which you will prefer on travel. I think there's a 24mm f1.4 and a 20mm f1.8G. You know the new one.
Uh-huh. Which lens I prefer, is it?
Yeah, if you have the money to buy, you have to only choose one of these. Which one would you choose? From
I would go for the 20mm f1.8, the newer lens. Actually, I'm live streaming with that particular lens right now.
Okay, so you're using the 20mm 1.8 now. Wow.
Yeah, the 20mm f1.8, the G lens.
Okay, so I can see there's a slightly out of focus at the background there.
Yeah. Yes. So actually, the f1.8 is really beneficial for photographers like us because we also shooting Milky Way in the night. We're also shooting in a very low light condition. So having a 1.8 is an advantage for us lah.
Yeah. So and I think the 1.8 also has a very good. Actually, the 1.8 is actually feel like a G Master because it's very sharp to the edges and also very. There's no like you don't really see any distortion. The control of distortion is very well. And another thing is the CA issue. Also, all this is even at 1.8. I tested in Batu Cave. I didn't really find a lot of CA. So this lens is actually quite a stunning lenses. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is very stunning.
Okay, and okay, there's one features that inside the camera. Uh, oh,
Hmm.
maybe I should start from here. I think we can just let's say rewind the history a little bit. Okay, let me
Okay.
go back to this part here. Okay, your Sony camera journey. Okay, so of course you have been
Okay.
using Sony for the past 5 years, roughly.
Five
Yeah,
years.
five
Yeah.
years. Okay, and yeah, maybe you can tell us more about the experience.
Okay. So I started with Sony A7R,
Mhm.
which has 36 megapixel.
Mhm.
So that lens also I brought with me. I traveled to New Zealand, and I mean it is really a great camera. It also have a very high dynamic range for shooting landscapes. And then it is very small version of the any A7R series camera.
Mhm. The actually the
Yeah,
first the first gen was like a really they really focused more on the compact design, small and
yeah,
lightweight.
yeah. It is very.
Yeah, I think after that people start to they want to have a better grip, so that's why the
It
size
is.
go bigger, and then they added the new stabilization, and then yeah, so things get a little bit bulky
Mm-hmm,
from there. But the first A7R was a bit not as
mm-hmm,
heavy and also not as yeah stuff like that. Then
uh-huh.
from
And then after that, I'm going to A7R Mark
mhm,
II, which is a slightly upgrade on megapixels as
yeah
well, right?
42.4.
From 36 to
Yep,
42.
yep.
So I've been enjoying that camera for the last at least 3 years
Mm.
before coming into Sony A7R3 right now.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, and then the A7R3 feels more different than A7R2, especially on the user interface as well, and the feels of holding the camera itself also feels different.
mm.
Feels more uh, sturdier, I would say.
Because of the new,
Yeah,
it's an improved grip design compared to the R2, which is yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah. It
yeah, of
is.
course. Another thing, the huge thing is the battery. It changed. Ah,
Yeah, I forgot about that. The battery also is an improvement from the previous generation.
yes.
And usually I need to take at least a couple of batteries with
Okay.
me. But with A7R3s now, I can shoot at least sunset and sunrise with just one battery.
Okay.
It will last me for at least half of the day now.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't shoot all the time. I always shoot during sunrise or
Mhm.
sunset, and maybe a little bit of shooting in the afternoon. So now the A7R3 battery really lasted me
Yeah,
lah,
yeah, yeah.
for a day at least.
Compared to the old MPFW50, it's about
Oh yeah,
huge
yeah. I guess everyone knows that.
night and day. 2.2 times difference. Okay, so of course, because myself I also own the R2 when it came out in Australia last time, and then I got
Uh-huh.
6 battery with that, with the
Oh, okay.
oh well, oh well. So then coming back to the R3, I
Hmm.
because I think after that we have a new firmware update it was in in 2018. I can't remember when was it. Maybe somewhere around 2018 or 2019. I can't remember when it was introduced with the interval shooting because last time they don't have the interval shooting in the camera. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So that one actually really helps you a lot because actually you do landscape. I'm supposed that previously when you do landscape photo, you might need to have a secondary remote control in a way.
Yes, an intervalometer when I'm doing a time lapse.
And then right now the features
Yeah.
is inside the camera already, so you can actually just use the interval shooting inside the camera to help.
Yeah, I mean that interval is really useful for me. Aside from shooting time lapse with it, I also often do a self-portrait landscape shot.
Okay.
So having this interval shooting is really an advantage lah for me because otherwise I always use the built-in self timer, which is the longest is 10 seconds. So it has always been a rush for me to into the frame. So having this interval function is actually can use for this purpose as well.
Yeah, very very helpful.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just quickly bring up a screen right here. Just quickly you can see. So this is actually on a 6.4 right now. I'm holding A6400. If you go to menu, you will find this interval shooting. Yeah, and right there, this one. So this one allows you to create your own. It would just take a series of photo. You can let the camera do its job. Let's say just turn it on for now, and then in there you can shoot. I suppose your shooting time. Maybe you don't. Do you set your shooting start time, or you just just set your interval usually? Let's say how long.
Shooting start time is 2 seconds at least to avoid any camera movement lah.
Oh, okay, okay. So this one will tell you how long before you actually start to shoot.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's actually shooting start.
All right. So that maybe and this duration interval is depends on how fast you want the thing to be seen.
Yeah, correct.
I guess maybe a long second will be good for something slow to move very fast, and then slower second is good for what?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. Then of course you can set number of shots. You can shoot 1,000 shots. So in the camera below, it tells you how many shots you need to prepare. So sorry, how long it takes to actually take those photos. So this is the interval shooting. Very easy. You can find in the menu and just use it there. All right. And okay, let's just pop back to you. Okay. So speaking of the one thing with the interval shooting, let me go back to this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually using the silent shutter. So it means electronic shutter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find it? Do you have any issues or anything with this when you're shooting landscape?
No, actually, it's actually a good thing.
Okay.
Because we can actually go to a silent mode, not to avoid any other people. If you are shooting, for example, any security guards or those kind of stuff lah. So this is actually an advantage as well for photographers like us.
It become very stealthy in a way. You don't want to alert
very
a lot. Yeah. So yeah. So this interval shooting currently is only available on the certain camera, not all the camera, but usually now the newer camera they will comes with this interval shooting mode, so allows you to take your own time lapse shots. But this mode doesn't combine the picture. Of course, it only takes photo. But go home, you do your own processing in the computer. So I'm sure you can always look for Sifu Franco Jamil here and on his Facebook, and you can find out more from him how he actually do his editing. Later on after that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so now there's a question here. We have a budget tripod. Do you prefer? Okay. Now speaking of tripod, what do you recommend?
Talking about tripod, right? If you are serious taking in photography, I would say spend a little bit in the first place, because a good tripod lasts you to easily, I would say, 5 to 10 years. So, but for me, I started with a very basic tripod as well. Mm-hmm. Those very plastic tripod that we got free when we bought a camera.
Okay, those are.
But of course, that tripod is really cannot use that tripod. I would say it can easily be thrown off by winds.
Yeah, it will fly away.
And then I brought an aluminium tripod, which is a Manfrotto 190X Pro B. I think it's an aluminium tripod. It's very stable, but because of its aluminium, it is quite heavy as well. Then lastly, I ended up with a carbon tripod as well. So I did spend a lot of money trying a few different tripods in the beginning. And then I ended up with a carbon fiber tripod because it's lightweight, it's steady, and very compact to take with me when I'm traveling.
So
any good tripod, the price range would be around, I think for a carbon fiber tripod, easily about 700 to 1,000 ringgit. A good starting point, I would say.
I think this is the Leo photo you're having right now is the latest one that you're having?
Yeah, I used to have that big tripod on the left side, which is a really stuffed tripod. It's really huge, and I don't even need it for my small camera.
Okay.
But I bought it, I think, because it's very steady. But then I ended up with another smaller tripod because I just can't afford to carry those huge tripod anymore up to any mountains. Yeah. Currently, I'm using that Leo photo tripod.
Okay. So yeah, I think a entry will be like 1,000 something if you can afford, and then a really good one will look at least 2,000-3,000, right?
Yeah, around that price range.
Yeah, and some can be like 6,000 if you're very crazy. Yeah, of course. Yeah, myself also use a main photo, but I use it for my just for photo usually. I don't really do landscape. I think
I
I
see,
got it
I see.
for 2006,
Ah,
roughly. Yeah,
but
in
that one is
Cool.
carbon fiber as well, is it?
Yeah. Carbon fiber
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
So
Yeah, yeah.
then it's okay lah, I guess, to
Mm,
carry around. It's not that heavy. It's not as heavy as aluminium tripod.
but really, like you said, a really good tripod can last you for a long time because the one I
Yep.
bought is 2014, I think, 14.
Ha.
Yeah, quite a long time.
That's like 6 years already. Quite a long time already.
Yeah, so all your money is back.
Yep.
Okay, so that's for the tripod tips. Okay, so yeah, friend is asking here. Ask Abdullah Read I. So is which model of the Leo photo tripod they're using right now?
Uh, I'm using the Leo Photo LS284 series, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, let me just bring up the photo again. I think you can say here. Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
mentioned LS284C. Yes.
I have it with me actually. So,
Okay, let me show you
oh yeah.
here, right
It
here.
doesn't shows any brand any version, but this is actually an Leo Photo LS284 series. It's very small, as you can see.
And I can see
Yeah.
the camera keep prioritizing on your eyeball.
Yeah. Because sorry, because I'm using the eye autofocus function.
No, all good, all good. Yeah.
Yep.
So, maybe next time you can buy a ZV one so you have a product showcase setting very easy. Joking.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the tripod. So okay, of course, tripod now you have two type. One is like you can just unscrew like that. Another one is actually to like a latch. You can open and close the latch.
Uh-huh.
I find those turn one is actually more tighter and also more last lasting compared to those latch one. The latch one I find you will loosen up after a while.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Have you
So
tried
yeah.
those two
Yep.
with the latch?
Of course, back when I was using my Manfrotto tripod, it has that latch on thingy, which is really inconvenient, I would say,
Okay.
to use. So, and then I changed to the Arca Swiss. They call it Arca Swiss type of ball head. So, with this Arca Swiss type of ball head, I can actually use an L bracket for my camera.
Okay. L bracket. I think you have some photo here. Oh, I think it's the same as this one on the top left. So this is a
Yeah.
L plate, right? I think that's the one there.
Yes, an L plate.
So this is the Leo photo as well.
That one is L Leo Photo tripod. Yep.
Okay.
The L plate is actually the one that you attach to a camera.
Nice. Okay, so we have another question from Abdullah. Which ball head or gear head that you recommend in landscape? I guess it's something like that. Yeah. So,
What was the question again?
the question is she's just asking, how about which ball head or gear head? So I guess this is the ball head they're using.
Oh, which ball head? Any ball head that have a Arca Swiss type is as functional as any brand, I would say. Yeah, any brand will do lah. As long as it has a Arca Swiss type of ball head, that will do. But now currently I'm using the one that comes with the Leo Photo tripod.
I think another good tips is that I find there's a marking here. I think this is also very helpful in terms of you want to do some panorama as well. The marking on the side.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is. The newer version have so-called the built-in leveling base, which is really functional for shooting a panorama. But the one that I'm using now doesn't have that built-in leveling base.
Okay, I think we missed a question before. So there's someone asking, in terms of telephoto lens, which one is best for your landscape?
Telephoto lens, if I have a chance to bring one with me, I would take the 70 to 200 f4 version. Mainly because it is lighter than the 2.8, and then I don't really need that 2.8 function when shooting landscapes.
Because you can usually you stop down to f11, and
f8 to f11,
yeah.
around that. I don't really need that 2.8. So if you ask me, I would say that 70 to 200 f4 version, because it mainly of the size, and it is slightly lighter than the 2.8 version.
Then of course, if you do shoot portrait as well, you can always get the 2.8. Then you have a very nice portrait photo in your landscape, and as well as your dedicated landscape photo.
Yeah. The 2.8. But I have shot with both lens. Of course, you can notice the difference between the f4 and the f2.8 version. Definitely, the G Master version is way more, how to say, sharper and crispier. But of course, the f4 version is just sufficient for landscape photography.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks to the XA element in the 7200 GM. Okay, never mind. That's the spec stuff.
Yeah.
So of course, if you want to get a longer reach, depends on the type of mountain shooting. I suppose the 100-400 is really good for compression, right?
Oh yeah. For example, like this photo, I don't know why I bring this lens in the first place. Maybe I just wanted to try it, but again, it is really useful in this case because actually those mountain and those rainbows is quite far ahead. It's actually I think easily, I don't know how far, 10 kms I guess on the other side.
Super far away.
Yeah. I don't know, roughly around 5 to 10 kilometers. I also cannot tell, but it's quite far. If I were to use that 70 to 200, I wouldn't get to compress that rainbows with that mountains and those turquoise lake all together. Yeah, I would need a teleconverter with the 7200 to get this shot.
Yeah, you always have a backup option. You can always get a teleconverter with you. Yeah. So if you do have a 7200, so at least you can extend to reach a bit longer.
Yep.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, this one is just straight. You just shoot straight from the lens and camera. You don't really use any ND filter, right?
No, without any filter. Actually, it was shot right outside from a moving car.
Okay. So wow, this will be very fast shutter speed.
It is because it is quite bright. Actually, sufficient daylight.
I can see the sensor really brings up all the details and wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice. And okay, let's see what else you have. Okay, so you have all this there. Okay. So yeah, let me see what is this. Okay, of course you have a tripod. You already mentioned a tripod. Okay. Now the L bracket. Maybe you can share a bit more.
Yeah. So as I was saying, this L bracket is really functional for landscape photographers because it helps us to change from landscape to vertical mode very quickly. Yeah. So I think I would recommend any landscape photographers to get one.
Because you can instantly change to vertically, and I can see right there. This is an interval shooting right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So for weather bordering -10 Celsius, I mean maybe it's cold. Any tips on choosing a beginner tripod from San Lun Kia?
Can you repeat the question?
I think if you're shooting at -10 Celsius, any tips on choosing a beginner tripod? I would say your tripod that you mentioned earlier will be
-10 Celsius.
Have you shoot that cold?
Yeah. In Iceland, but not all the way to -10 C, but I think it was like -6, -8 that night. So I was using that Leo photo tripod. I think it works just fine.
Okay, so the Leo photo will be this one before, this one right there. So this one. I think another thing is I'm just curious. Speaking of very cold places, right now we are using the new NPFZ 100 battery. How is the battery life performance in these cold places?
Last September I went to Iceland and Norway again, and I was shooting with my A7R3, and I only brought with me 2 spare batteries.
Okay.
So I ended up only using one when shooting throughout the day.
Okay.
So I would say the newer battery can really last me a day of shooting. So compared to the previous smaller battery, of course, at least you need to use 2 or 3 set of batteries in very cold condition. Yep.
And another question I think people might ask is that cold places and then within lenses, do you change lens on the fly or usually you prepare everything before you go to shoot?
I normally brought 2 sets of cameras, so I don't change lens that often. Yeah, so mainly one is the ultra wide angle lens, And then another one is probably a lens that have a very big aperture, like the 24 1.4 G Master. That is for astrophotography. So by having these two set of cameras, I don't need to change lens that often.
I think then okay. What else? What about the dust and moisture resistant in your experience?
I don't really have that
Okay.
problem too much because I normally shoot around f8 to f11. If you shoot with higher than f11, for example f16 or f22, not that you just will get those diffraction, but you also can see a whole lot of dust and those kind of stuff.
Okay. Not the diffraction part, but I'm talking about the because sometimes cold places they have moisture. I'm just talking about the
Uh-huh.
lens and camera in terms of the dust and moisture resistant. You know,
Uh,
you have.
I don't see any effect when I have to change lens.
So it's
Actually,
okay.
I don't really notice any effect
Okay.
that it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, Iceland, proud of it. Fuck German. Okay. Now, last thing, I think, not last thing. I mean, one more thing that maybe also, photographer will ask about this one, which is the filters. You have different types of filters.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always use filters in my landscape shots, but now, as I was saying, I don't use GND that often anymore. But I always brought with me together GND filters, which is a graduated neutral density filters, and then I have a neutral density filters, and then secular polarizers as well. By the way, I'm using a square type of filter holder compared to those circular filter that you slide in directly into your lens, right?
Uh-huh.
The reason is because of the limitations of that circular type of filters.
Okay.
Uh, for example, I'm using this square type of filter. You just need a set of different adapter rings, and then you can use it with your different lenses. So it's really an advantage lah. You just brought a set of adapter rings, you can use it with your different lenses. Not that I use many lens, but of course it can be still can save your money a bit.
But yeah, this Nisi filter is actually quite good. Yeah. The friend of mine, I mean Australia, Mark Taylor also actually using DC filter. So he's
Mark Taylor is also using that.
It's very nice. So I think back to Abdullah question. What would you recommend for best travel lens to bring along if you just have one choice?
Best lens I would say now is the 16-35 to G Master, the f2.8, because you can also shoot portrait with it, not just shooting landscape. By having that f2.8 aperture, that big aperture can be used to shoot portrait as well. You can also shoot astrophotography. You can shoot Milky Way with it. You can shoot Aurora Borealis with it. Of course, you can shoot landscape with it as well. So I would say it's really good lens for travel and landscape photography now for Sony mirrorless cameras.
It's an ultimate option for landscape travel as well to get to do.
Yeah. Now I guess no other lens can challenge it lah, I would say.
Okay, so so far so good. Okay, yay. Okay. And speaking of one thing, so I mean, since last time you already used the what do you call this, the intervalometer last time, but right now you have the interval shooting. Then on top, right now, because the phone itself has the imaging edge mobile that connect to the phone to do some control. Do you use the imaging mobile on the phone, or you just use the interval shooting?
Not that frequently lah. Only on certain occasion when I need to. Like for example, when I need to see my framing with my phone, then I would use it lah. But not that often, I would say. I just normally either the built-in self timer or either the built-in interval now with the Sony A7R3.
Okay. So we have a question from Kamaru. So this is a set case. So how about the apps filter from Sony? You know, last time back in the days, I think from R2 period still have the, you can install apps into the camera. Yeah. Now we don't have on R3. So you have any issue with it?
Yeah, I find it very time consuming using that filter. So I don't really use it before this. I did try to install it and use it a couple of times, but I guess it's just time consuming to set up inside the camera itself. So
Okay.
I didn't use it that
So
often.
your case is you just shoot everything in uncompressed raw and throw into the computer and then do the editing from computer. Yes.
Yeah, but of course, again with the A7R3, very high dynamic range camera and high resolution, I don't really need GND filters anymore.
Oh, okay.
Even the apps also, that's why I don't really need it before this
So it
one.
means that you actually just need to make sure exposure is correct. Then yeah, then the raw file will just do the job for you.
Yeah, it's better to shoot slightly underexposed than overexposed because it's always easier to recover highlights. It's always easier to recover shadows than to recover highlights. So that's why shooting slightly underexposed will be a good thing to do
So
if you don't have a GND filters.
so your range of underexposed usually at minus 0.3 to.
Yeah, just around that. I do take multiple exposures when I'm traveling just to be on the safe side. Yeah, but for example, if I'm shooting in Malaysia, I also did take a series of bracketing exposures but not for HDR, just as a backup.
Oh, speaking of HDR, do you do?
I don't do HDR. No, I don't do the HDR.
Okay.
Not into that type of look.
I think yeah, some people like it, some people like it. This is very up to personal preference.
Yeah, it depends. It's very subjective.
Yeah, very subjective. Cool. And then speaking, just a quick one. Where is the? Oh yeah, I don't have here. Never mind. There's a question from here. It says, how about tele? Which one to bring on? I think it's the same question again. So it's a 70 to 200 GM, 100 400 GM, and 70 to 350 G APS-C. I guess your favorite choice would be the 70 to 200 GM.
Yeah.
So I guess because it's a 2.8, of course. No, the F4 actually, because it's not the heavy.
Yeah, correct.
The 200 GM is, of course, it's the ultimate. And depends on the weight that you actually want to carry.
If you don't have a problem carrying it, then I would recommend the G Master 2.8 version because it's produced just way more sharper and crispier image.
Okay, speaking of going travel as well, because I think on the flight you have limited to 7 kg. How do you actually work around that?
Oh yeah, this one we just have to squeeze it. I get stopped a lot with the airport security people, and sometimes you just have to be very clever with it. I guess I just remove one camera body and my heaviest lens, and I just hand carry it without my bag. So you just have to be very clever with it. I guess.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you need two bodies, then two lenses, you can still go around 5 kg lah. Two body, two lenses. Yeah, and then few extra.
Now with two camera bodies and a set of lens and filters, I think my current weight has reduced 10 kgs coming in from those conventional DSLR days.
Yep.
So now with two camera bodies, I think 3 lens, I think my camera bag now weighs around 10 kgs.
Because of last time, the body itself already like a kg in terms of the weight back in the days. And then you have a lens on top, another kg on top, so be like heavier. Okay, so let me see. Always back up when physical filter left behind. Okay, yeah. All right. So what would you recommend for a starter right now if you want to do travel? Let's say for someone that has not done any landscape before, but coming into landscape photography, what do you think is a good camera and lenses to for them to start? Let's say.
The question is.
It means what is a recommend camera and lenses? Let's say from a point of view for a starter.
If you are going for a crop version camera, the A6000 series will be very good starting point.
Yeah, this one here.
It can go either with the A6400 or the A6600.
Yeah.
And then with the Sony 10 to 18 millimeter f4, that is an ultra wide angle lens for crop sensor. I use it before, so that is a good starting point for a beginner, I would say.
Yeah, this is a 6.4 here, so you can see how tiny and small you can easily bring with you, especially you're going for landscape, so you can start from something like this. And of course, you need a 10 to 18. So the 10 to 18 will give you roughly about 15 to 27 millimeters in terms of the view. Roughly around that. So it's
still very wide enough for landscape.
Yeah, because the 15 is super wide. So yeah, but that two combination will be enough for a starter to do your landscape. Actually, you also got. I think you told me you have a 6003 before.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yep. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you. No worry. So there's a question from San Lun Kia. Did you try using Imaging Edge in Iceland? If yes, any connection issues? I think he's trying to say if you connect to a smartphone during in cold Iceland is very cold, right? I suppose. Does it affect any problem when you use your phone to compose the image when you connect the image?
I think I tried to use it before. It's just that you just need to have a sufficient battery with your handphone.
Okay.
I don't have any connection issue when I was using it in Iceland.
Okay. So the everything, yeah. I think same things for phone. Battery life will be huge time problem. So better charge fully, but it will drain faster. Same thing. But I think Wi-Fi it doesn't really affect. Should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anyone has any questions, so yeah. So if you like this video, feel free to like, give it likes, and also share this video to your friends and family that are interested about landscape. Okay. So right now we are in this IMCO period. I'm think starting recovery. So where would you recommend a good spot that you can do landscape photography in, let's say in KL region or in Malaysia region that you think is still okay?
Oh, in Malaysia, quite a lot of place to shoot.
Okay.
For example, in Klang Valley area, there is numerous photography location that you can shoot landscape.
Okay, Klang.
For example, you can shoot a lot of places in Putrajaya. You have a Putra Mosque, just like the photos that you showed earlier.
Yep.
And then even in Putrajaya itself, there is a few places that you can shoot sunrise, you can shoot sunsets. And then aside from that, even in Shah Alam also, there is a few places you can shoot. And of course, there is a few beaches in Pantai Kelanang, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, Pantai Kelanang. You can also shoot in Kuala Selangor. There's those Sekinchan area that have paddy fields.
Okay. Kuala Kubu.
Kuala Kubu Baru also you can shoot there. There is a dam there, and then you can shoot a Milky Way as well in Kuala Kubu Baru.
Okay. Oh, Eric, you have a question, man? I didn't see also. Oops, my bad. Let me check. Eric asked the question. I don't know where is it. Did I miss it? Okay. Where? Sorry, I didn't. No. Did I see? Did you see Eric's question? I didn't see it. Wait. Sorry.
I didn't see which question that Eric is referring to.
Yeah, I didn't. Sorry, Eric. Oh, okay. I just saw it. Okay. What's your take on leaf filter versus Nisi filter? My bad. Okay.
Oh, okay. Leaf filters is way more expensive than Nisi filters. I use that filters as well before I'm coming into Nisi filters. I'm having a few problems with leaf filters. For example, the GND filters with the filter holder is very loose, I would say. When you slot in for example, this is the filter holder, right? When you slot in your filter inside the holder, it's not very secure, I would say. Last time when I slot my Lee GND filters, and then the filters just drop straight underneath into the sea. So I lost that filter before. So that is, I guess those are the previous version. I'm not very sure nowadays do they improve their filter holder, or it's still the same? But that is one of the issue I'm having with my Lee filters.
Okay.
So then I'm using a Nisi filters now. Everything is good. So far is good. They don't produce any color cast. And then very neutral color for the ND filters. And then they also have those built-in CPL circular polarizer, which is really useful, I would say. It's very easy to use. You don't have to use any separate CPL.
So there's a polarizer. Yep, polarizer.
Yeah, the circular polarizer.
And speaking of ND filters, so what it means that, let me just bring up this part here. So this is the effect of the ND filter. So can you?
Yeah. This is the 10-stop ND filters, which I used to get this long exposure. It was a bright daytime. It was very bright in I think it's in afternoon. Then you just need to use an ND filter to get that long exposure effect, that calmness of the sea. Yeah.
Do you mind I ask, how do you calculate your exposure? Do you count by hand? Just joking.
There is a way of calculating it. Even that photo pills, the photography apps that you showed before, can use to calculate these exposures. But nowadays, it's a very simple to use. When you slot in that filters, and you just use aperture priority, and then you just set your desired aperture, and then the camera will automatically decide the shutter speed for you. So in this case, when we slot in this 10-stop ND filters, you will get roughly around, I think, 15 to 20 seconds of exposure. Just enough to blur out those waters.
Unless only if the shutter speeds go more than 30 seconds, then it doesn't count.
Then you have to increase your ISO, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just set the aperture priority and plug in the filters, and the live view will actually calculate itself. All right.
Yeah, good thing with this live view of Sony A7 screens, or even Sony A6000 series, even though if you are using this 10-stop ND filters, you can still actually see what is in front of your camera. I mean, previously, coming in from the previous DSLR camera, when I slot in my ND filters, I barely can see anything right in front. It's just pitch black. So I guess that is benefit of having a very good resolution and dynamic range.
The last time, because I think it was reflected through a mirror in front of the lenses, and then there's a mirror inside. Right. So when you actually block it, yeah, in the
you can actually still see, but not as good as this Sony camera.
Okay.
Very very small thing you can see.
Okay. I can see that you actually charge the battery while actually shooting as well. So you bring a power bank together, and
which one?
You can see on the top left here. You can see there's a.
Actually, there is an external remote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the Sony remote, the very simple one. I can't remember the exact model, but there is a very simple Sony remote that I used to shoot a very long exposure, longer than 30 seconds. Then you need a remote.
So you don't usually charge the battery while you're shooting?
No, I don't normally do that because I find it very inconvenient for me. Unless if I'm shooting time lapse, if I need to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And okay, so question from Ikma Asman Alfate. So do you always use CPL filter, polarizer, circular polarizer?
Not all the time. Only when I'm shooting really. How to say, very on a certain subject. For example, when I'm shooting a river stream, then I would use a CPL. Yeah, because CPL function almost the same, at least like an ND filter, but only one stop.
So let's say if you have a stream, the main function of the CPL is to let you reduce
remove
the
reflection. Remove reflection or reduce glare, they would say.
So you can see.
And then increase the saturation a little bit.
So usually used in those river, stream, and you do landscape.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for example, in this particular photo, of course, I use a CPL.
This one here?
Because I need because I need to remove some of the glares on the stream.
So, yeah, okay. Then you can see through everything inside, and then you have the. You also use maybe another anti-filter as well on top to.
Yeah, for example, on this photo,
Mm.
I use 3 filters. The first one is 10 stops neutral density filters,
Okay.
which allows me to get a very long exposure. As you can see, I'm catching those cloud movement on the sky as well. So I need a very long exposure to catch it, to catch those movement. And then secondly, I use CPL to remove some of the glass on the rock and on the streams as well.
This one right here.
And then thirdly, I still use GND filters on this shot because by exposing longer than 30 seconds without any GND filters, then the sky will be blown out lah. So I still use a GND filters for these particular photos.
In short, means you have a lot of mats going on.
Yeah.
It's like to compensate each other for the mats. Okay, one part here and then.
Right.
So actually, you're using 10 stop plus 1 stop, which is a polarizer, and then 11 already. Then your GND is on top here, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite a very long exposure. If I'm not mistaken, this one is around 1.5 minutes of exposure.
Okay.
So to capture those clouds movement, that is the main point in this photo.
Nice. Okay. All right. So sorry about that, Eric. I didn't see your questions just now. I just really did see. My bad. Okay, don't pass it lah. Okay. Yeah. Tonight so far in there has been going well for me. Yeah. No drop frame. I don't know why. Last week was very bad. So, okay. Speaking of one thing, you know how lens these days in Sony is actually focused by wire. So usually when people say when you do landscape photography, you should change into manual, and then you have to manual focus. So when you manual focus at time, because it's actually focused by wire, so the actual movement of the manual focus is not directly. It's actually depends on how much pressure you put in, then you actually move the thing. And the infinity focus is not infinity. It's actually So how do you actually?
Not exactly infinity, is it?
Yeah. How do you actually solve this issue?
With that, I'm using that focus picking function that this Sony A7 series camera have. So it shows me those areas which is actually in focus. So by shooting with f8 to f11, and then the focus picking also shows the area that is in focus. Then so far I'm pretty happy that I get everything in focus by using that way.
Okay. So
yeah.
If I can quickly show here, I don't know what I can do. Right there. So okay. Oh no, I need to turn on the picking. One more thing. So yeah, the focus picking is quite neat features. Actually came out at quite an early day when we have the APS-C E mount already. So
I think during A7R also already have, right?
Already have. Yeah. So it's quite,
yeah.
It's helpful for people who want to nail the focus in manual focus, especially in landscape. Oh, speaking of one thing, let me go back to this view here. Do you turn off the stabilization when you do your landscape photo?
I didn't get you.
Oh, okay.
I think it might break off just now.
Okay, sorry. I mean, during the landscape shooting, do you switch off the stabilization, which is the steady shots?
I think with the longer lens, then I turn it off. But with this ultra wide angle lens, it didn't really matter that much because it's really wide, right?
Okay.
But with that longer lens, if I didn't turn it off, then you mean, in the lens itself, it have a built-in stabilizer as well, right? For example, that 400 mm. So if you didn't turn that off, it will having problem with the built-in stabilizer in the camera. Then I need to turn off either one of it. Then I only get a very sharp image. I have that problem when I was shooting in Ladakh before.
Ladakh is... Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, is it Tibet? I don't know.
Yeah, Tibetan area as well.
Okay.
High up in the mountains.
So, not sure if I can demonstrate right there. No, it doesn't show on the screen.
Yeah, it's still showing me.
No, it's okay. Never mind. I'm just trying to do the manual focus with the picking on.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't really shows on here. Okay, let me. Yes, I'm just showing through the capture screen here. You can see right there. So in the
Uh-huh.
picking setting, like what Fakro mentioned, is basically very easily. You just need to, of course, in the camera, you need to turn to manual focus for first thing. After you turn to manual focus, then you go to menu. You will find this picking setting, where you can turn it on. Yeah, so you can set your level. So currently, actually, I'm going through the recorder. I'm not sure actually it will show. Yeah, it doesn't really show. Okay, let me do another thing. Hopefully it shows me the picking right here. So MX is off for now. Yeah, it doesn't really show from here. Okay, wait. Let me do one more try. Let me just switch off the interval shooting for now. Okay, and let's see. Does it come up? Yeah, it doesn't come up. Never mind. I think it's something to do with the recorder. Don't worry, all good. So it's just the easy way is if you want to try a picking is actually you can try in the you can find in the camera menu just now. So let me go back to myself. Okay, so we covered lots of topic today. Yeah, with lots of goodies about landscape and one I think shooting landscape. For you. I can show that you always shoot uncompressed raw. Fakru.
Mm-hmm.
Do you shoot uncompressed raw most of the time?
Yeah. I use uncompressed raw most of the time because I need my camera to capture maximum data as possible.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know,
Yeah.
because using an uncompressed raw, the camera captures maximum data, and then I don't lose any
Information.
information, so called. By using compressed raw, it might make your size, the file size slightly smaller,
Mm-mm.
and it can make your camera slightly faster if you're shooting in burst mode as well, right?
Mm-mm. Yep.
Yeah, but I personally I use uncompressed raw all the time because I wanted my camera to record maximum data without any sort of compression.
Mm-mm.
Compressions, yeah.
Yep. So just make sure to buy a few more SD cards. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, I think okay. Oh, one thing. Do you use a touchscreen on the camera to do your landscape? Maybe.
Oh yeah, the touchscreen is really useful now
Oh.
because I also do a focus stacking on certain occasion.
Okay.
So to change my focusing area by just touching the screen is really easy lah.
Okay. So I can
Yeah.
imagine like this shot right here that you did before. You can simply touch
Yeah.
on
You
the
can
rock.
see the front row is very near to the camera, right? So
Mm.
I had to do a focus stacking in order to get everything in focus.
Wow.
So just by touching the screen is really quick for me
Okay.
to change my focus point.
Wow. Focus stacking and long exposure at the same time. So it's gonna be a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and then you need to do a lot of post processing as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Usually, like just roughly, how many shots did you think you need for focus stacking?
Only two shots, one for the foreground and one for the sky area.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, but
Yeah.
still need to combine it. Okay, so anyone has any question to ask? Fakru right now with us. Yeah. So you can see we have lots of goodies. Okay, right here. You see anyone? Yeah, and also you can see there's a yeah. Thank you. You can see there's a link down at the bottom, so you can actually try out. Go to this link here. You find out all the information about. Because this is actually go to our Sony Malaysia flagship store. You click the link below. You can see in the comment. So let's go to our Malaysia store, so you can find out all the newest goodies available. And at the same time, yeah, you can check out whichever on promotions. So yeah, stuff like that. Okay, let me see right here. Yeah, I think we covered most of the topic. And speaking of this one, oh, then okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, let me just go through this. And right there, and okay, wait, and this right here. Wow, Milky Way. Everyone loves Milky Way. Okay, Uh, this is in New Zealand, I suppose.
Yes, it is.
Ah,
The left
yes.
is in New
Okay.
Zealand and the right one is actually in Spain.
Okay. Wow. So, is there any difference between Milky Way? Joking.
Not really, but you can see
Hmm.
actually, you can see Milky Way clearer in the southern hemisphere, which is New Zealand area.
Yeah. Yeah. I seen this shot before, but actually not a Milky Way. It was a day shot. My friend actually went there to take
Oh
some.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a good place for wedding photo as well.
It is, but nowadays they already barricade those area, those
Oh.
church. They already barricaded it.
Mm-mm. So like these shots, actually you need to use okay 6035 2.8 as a start. You can also use a 21.8, even better because of 1.8.
Yeah, I would say that 1.8 20 mil lens is gonna be really good for astrophotography.
Mm-mm.
Can't wait to test it, but I don't have a chance to do so yet because of MCO and whatnot.
Mm-mm.
So I didn't have really time to go yet.
Okay. I know.
Looking forward to.
Yeah, I know for looking forward to of your great shots, and
Yeah,
I
I hope
I
so.
think currently usually Mercury comes out around June timing. Is it? Am I correct?
It depends. The Milky Way is all like moon as well. There is a Milky when the right time the Milky Way rise above the horizon.
Okay.
So you can actually use the PhotoPills apps to see the moon phase. Actually, of course, you need a very dark moon to shoot Milky Way, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then there is also augmented reality on the PhotoPills app. You can also use that to see when the Milky Way gonna rise above the horizon.
Okay.
So that is really useful as
So
well.
it's actually in this app right here. I can see it tells you when is a full
Mm.
moon and not moon. Nope.
It tells you the date when it's gonna be a dark moon, when it's gonna be a full moon. So avoid full moon at all costs lah when shooting Milky Way.
Okay. And pray
Yeah.
for the good weather.
Clear sky and good weather.
Clear skies, a bit hard in KL. You need to go.
Yeah. I mean, in Peninsula is quite tricky.
Mm-mm.
You need to wait a few hours for the sky to clear
Mm-mm.
up.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So that yeah. So you need to go quite a bit of distance. Okay. So anyone else? Any questions? I think so far so good. So again, if you're interested to find out more from Fakru, especially his maybe his own he has his own classes or you want to find out from him about shooting, you can always visit him on his Facebook. Okay, Fakru Jamil right here, and also his
Mhm.
Instagram, and then the YouTube, and also email. You can email him anytime to find out more.
Yeah.
do you
Well, of course, the easiest way can use Facebook lah.
do you do any online classes or maybe in the future in terms of planning?
I used to do a physical photography workshop,
Mm-mm.
but of course, with this movement control order and everything, I guess we just have to do it online
Mm-mm.
in future.
Mm-mm. Okay. Oh, hi Nasri. Thanks for dropping by. Uh, yeah, hi Franco Jamil. Technically, which one is more difficult shooting landscape in our country or overseas country? Let's say Europe.
Hi, Banazri. I would say in Malaysia is more difficult because of the weather. I guess our weather condition here is very unpredictable. I mean, most of the time it's either cloudy
Mm.
and very gloomy. You just have to go to the same location again and again in order to get a very best shot. That's what I did in my early days when shooting. I mean, in overseas, depending on which countries lah you go, but most of the time, for example, like New Zealand or Iceland or any other Europe countries, the weather is very good lah. Aside from the rain, but the condition is very good. The sky feels more, the air feels more clearer, I would say, comparing to here. Here looks like a bit polluted. But you just have to go. I guess Sabah is a good place to shoot. It's not as bad as Peninsula.
Yep.
I mean, my go-to location in Malaysia would be Sabah to shoot landscape photography. Yeah.
I think like last time we went to the Kundasang, it was actually quite lucky to have the Milky Way as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, in Sabah there is a lot more places to shoot landscape lah. Actually.
It's the place we went is actually quite high to higher ground already
Yeah.
itself, so it's also less polluted. Yeah.
Gets foggy as well.
Yeah, but it's foggy is one thing lah. But luckily that night was good, so we can get some nice Milky Way there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and of course another one you can also try is some people also try in Cameron.
Cameron Highland as well. Yep, you can shoot Milky Way as well there, and you can also shoot sunrise. That is a very good spot to shoot sunrise, provided that the weather is on our side.
So speaking of weather, like what Fakru said, it's the same thing. When I was in Australia for the past 13 years, the weather, yeah, it's like, you can really see clear sky, really blue. The sky is just pitch blue, and then you don't see any cloud. It's like really clear. Of course, don't expose the sun too much because you get later it gets the skin cancer from the sun. But just joking. But like I said, overseas sky is bluer in a way. It's a bit like people say. Yeah, thanks for Nasri. All right, so we covered like lots of the topic today, and also thanks for Fakro sharing his experience in regarding to the camera and the lenses he used for the past 5 years with us. And okay, yeah, nice lighting setup. This is from Nizam, Mr. Fakru. Hopefully, you can share with us your setup.
Lighting setup, is it?
Yeah, using.
How do I? I'm using one key light here on my top.
Okay.
I can actually
go around. You can show your camera. Yeah.
I can actually show this. So this is my small studio.
Okay.
So this is my main lighting actually. Yeah, it's quite huge.
Okay. It's like a 90 cm, I think. It's like a 90 cm.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's 80 cm. I can't actually remember.
So with the softbox with the grid, and of course,
it's. I think it's producing a very soft light.
Most important, you also need a 20 mm f1.8G for your virtual, live streaming is very good.
Thank you to that lens.
Okay.
I'm using that 20 to 1.8 lens.
Yes. And then you have a very nice lighting behind on the side, and it's also there's a thunder on the side. On the left hand side, there's one thunder though. Okay, so thanks for everyone joining this session. And if you're interested to find out more from Fakru, same thing or as usual, please visit his Facebook. Okay, drop his some comment, and questions. Maybe you can learn from him personally. Thanks for tuning. And tonight was good. So far so good. Internet is good. And okay, stay tuned. And same thing every week. We'll be having this kind of live sharing. And so every weekly on Sunday night 9 p.m. we'll be doing this kind of live sharing. So stay tuned for next video. And okay, thank you very much, Fakru.
All right, thank you, Han.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I hope you guys enjoy the session.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Thank you, Yunus. Thank you. Yep. All right. So I'll end this. I'll end this live. Thank you very much.